Hey field friends! So today we are going to be reading Pirate School by Cathy East Dubowski and Mark Dubowski. So this is a really good book. I think you're going to like it a lot. Here we go. Pete's family was a lot like other families. Every morning his mom and dad got breakfast. His baby sister watched Jolly Roger's Neighborhood, and Pete rode the bus to school. Pete went to school on a ship. The ship was called PS-1. The PS stood for Pirate School. Pete learned to add by adding up gold coins. He learned to subtract by making classmates walk the plank. The kids at PS-1 were as hard as nails, and so were the rules. Number 1, don't cry over spilled milk. Number 2, last one there is a rotten egg. And number 3, finders keepers, losers weepers. Pete liked everything about Pirate School. Well, almost everything. He hated Gregory Grimes, the 13th. The kids called him Grimy. And Grimy hated Pete right back. "You're too little to lift the anchor," said Grimy. "You're too big to get through the hatch," said Pete. "You little shrimp," shouted Grimy. "You big whale," shouted Pete. "Stop that," yelled their teacher, Captain Bones. Captain Bones did not like kids to call each other names. "Act like big pirates," he said, "and fight it out." Uh-oh. So they did. "Who won?" "I did," said Grimy. "No, I did," said Pete. Doesn't seem like a good way to solve things, does it? At Pirate School, the biggest day of the year was Treasure Hunt Day. Captain Bones held up a map. "The treasure is hidden here," he said. "X marks the spot. Find it, and you get to keep it." "Finders keepers," hissed Grimy. "Losers weepers," snapped Pete. All the kids rowed to the shores of Skull Island. Pete and Grimy fought all the way. "I'm going to find the treasure first," said Grimy. "No, I'm going to find it first," said Pete. On Skull Island, the class split up. They all ran off to find the X that marked the spot. Pete looked high, Pete looked low. "I've got to find that X before Grimy," he thought. Pete went deeper and deeper into the woods. "That X could be anywhere," he said, so he looked everywhere. No luck. At last he sat down to think. Suddenly, he felt as if someone was watching him. Slowly, he turned around. "The X!" he cried. "I found the X! It looks just like the one on the map." "Forget it," someone yelled. "I found it first." It was Grimy. They had found the X at the same time. It was on the side of an old ship. "Scram," said Grimy. "The treasure is mine." "You want to fight about it?" said Pete. So they did. Captain Bones would have been proud. Crash! Pete and Grimy fell through the rotted deck. Down, down, down they went into the dark. Pete and Grimy hit bottom. It was dark and wet and smelly. Slowly their eyes got used to the dark. "Look," said Pete. It was the treasure. "We found it," they cheered, but then they stopped cheering. They looked around. There were no steps. No ladder, no rope, no door. They were trapped. "We'll never get out," said Grimy. "We'll starve to death. By the time they find us, we'll be a pile of bones." Pete and Grimy sat down on the treasure and waited to die. "Hey, Pete," said Grimy, "are you scared?" Pete nodded. "Well, I'm more scared than you," said Grimy. "No, I'm more scared than you," said Pete. But before they could fight it out, Pete got an idea. I think they're gonna have to work together. First, he got Grimy to help him turn the treasure chest on its side. Then he made Grimy stand on top of the chest. Then Pete stood on top of Grimy. "Give me a boost," Pete cried. Grimy did. Pete hit the deck with a thud. "Ouch," he said. "I made it." He grabbed a rope. "Tie this to the treasure," he called down to Grimy. Pete turned the crank and pulled the treasure up. Pete couldn't wait to see what was inside. He opened the chest. Wow, he cried. He had never seen so much treasure. And it's mine, he shouted, all mine. Hey, Pete, called Grimy. What about me? Pete looked down into the big dark hole. Suddenly he had a terrible idea. I could just leave him there, he thought. He'd be a pile of bones. And I would have the treasure. Aw, shellfish, said Pete. I just can't do it. And if it weren't for Grimy's help, I'd still be stuck down there too. So he threw down the rope and pulled Grimy out. Thanks, mate, said Grimy. I was scared you were going to leave me. No, I couldn't do that, said Pete. But don't tell Captain Bones that I saved you. He'll be mad. Together they carried the treasure back to their boat. Back at the ship, all the kids cheered, but Captain Bones frowned. We have never had a tie before, he said. I guess there's only one thing to do. Act like big pirates and fight it out. But Pete and Grimy had a better idea. We want to split it, said Pete. 50-50, said Grimy. Even Steven, said Pete. And they did. And that worked out great, until there was just one coin left. Pete and Grimy looked at it. Everyone looked at Pete and Grimy. What would they do now? Were they going to fight it out? Nope, they flipped for it. Oh, it looked like they learned their lesson about working together and having good teamwork. Oh, that was an awesome book. All right, I miss you guys. I hope you're staying safe and sound. Have an awesome day.